you have seen him everywhere, but tonight you are seeing him live. Please put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
Sometimes I find myself falling down whole rabbit holes online of things, stories and stuff. And there's a case, there's a trial. It just ended. And I think it may qualify for trial of the century. I know that's premature to say, but I don't know. I think it's pretty incredible. The trial of Young Thug just ended. Now, if you don't know who Young Thug is, he's a rapper. It's not a dog whistle this time, all right? Young Thug is a rapper that was on trial in Fulton County in Georgia, right? Basically, the state's case, what they were alleging was that he took all of the money that he made from music and he funneled it through and to a gang called YSL, a gang that he was supposedly the leader of, right? And that's the state's case. And the judge in the case looked exhausted. I've never seen a judge act like this before. Every time the court camera cut to her, her head was in her hands. I'm not gonna act like I know the law, okay? My understanding of the law sort of begins and ends with Law and Order SVU, all right? So I know you can sustain, and you can object. I've never heard a judge be like, you can't do that. She said it a lot. And now the prosecution in the case, the prosecutor had given out a lot of plea deals. Ton of plea deals. More plea deals than I thought you could give out. I didn't have a number in my head, but this felt like an egregious amount of plea deals. It just felt like she was going to the hood like, you get a plea deal, you get a plea deal, you get a plea deal, you get a plea. She was basically giving a plea deal to everybody in Georgia but Young Thug, right? And she was giving these plea deals in return for their cooperation, their testimony that she would use to piece by piece paint the bigger picture that the state was alleging that Young Thug's the leader of YSL. Everything they do is by his direction. All his money goes through and to them, right? And the only problem is the prosecutor in this case gave plea deals to some of the least helpful people in human history, all right? I've never seen people less helpful than this. It was astoundingly unhelpful. I was helping my friend move one time. And he and I had to move a pool table. Just us. Downstairs. And our third friend was there at the bottom of the stairs just watching. And even he was more helpful than anyone that the prosecutor gave a plea deal to in this case. At least he could be like, watch your step, something. I'm gonna tell you about some of the testimony. I'm gonna need you to be patient with me because a lot of the dudes testified in this trial are going by their rapper name and they haven't made it yet. So I don't know why it's spelled like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. Just, I'm gonna say he for short, all right? There's one dude that was on the stand, right? And prosecutor asked him a very specific question, very specific reason. She goes, did Young Thug have an issue with Rich Homie Quan bringing his friend to the party, right? Now, Rich Homie Quan is also a rapper who has sadly passed away. But his friend, to the best of my knowledge, allegedly, is a gang member, right? This whole question is to paint Young Thug as a leader of a gang. That's why he would have a problem with a different gang member coming to his party, right? So the prosecutor asked, did Young Thug have an issue with Rich Homie Quan bringing his friend to the party? And then this guy on the stand goes, Thug, did you have an issue with Rich Homie Quan? Never in the history of court have I seen someone ask a question by the prosecution and then go, I'll just go to the source. And so then the prosecutor goes, no, I'm asking you. Did Young Thug have an issue with Rich Homie Quan bringing his friend to the party? All right? And then this guy goes, I'm not Young Thug, so I don't know. Moments later, the prosecutor's asking question after question after question, all alleging the same thing, all to the same end, right? And this dude, he's not being combative. He's not even being rude. He's just not being helpful. And so then the prosecutor pulls up, I don't know if she pulled up it exactly, but basically references his plea deal where she goes, I have right here you answering questions definitively that I'm asking you right now. And then this guy on the stand goes, y'all wrote that, I just signed it. Never in the history of court, at least that I know of, and it's like, you know, the internet especially was of two minds, because it was like people could not decide if these were like some of the dumbest people who had ever lived or legal masterminds. Because basically what this dude is saying in open court, right, is, look, you were about to give me how many years? I didn't want to do how many years, and you told me if I signed the paper, I wouldn't do how many years, right? So I signed the paper, but I'm not about to perjure myself. This dude was supposed to be on the stand for 3 hours. 3 days later. The prosecution is asking question after question after question, all to the same end, right? And, you know, references again. Look, I understand that we typed it up, but what is in this is based off of what you said to the police. This is based off of testimony you gave during interrogation. And he was like, yeah, but if you gave it to me to type up, it would say something different than what you have right there, right now. Even the prosecutor was like, oh. Question after question after question after question. And finally, this dude, he doesn't snap exactly. He doesn't lose it, right? I think he just gets exhausted. And finally he says, look, I'll tell you what I told the police. I'll say anything. Like, this is a witness for the prosecution. It's absolutely insane. The whole case is insane because you even look at the fact that the case had 3 different judges. Yeah, got passed off like a bad baton. First judge was Judge, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Glanville, yeah. And this judge, he does seem to suck. Like, he does. But he also had to put up with some stuff, too, because there were jurors that were fully out of pocket during this case. Just a couple of examples. There was one juror that got picked. It already took nearly a year, by the way, to pick a jury. which is insane. And then after they pick the jury, there's one juror that during the trial has started, and I think they just went to the Dominican Republic. Deputies got sent to their house, were knocking on the door, everything, and then they got back, and they had to appear in court, and the judge was like, you have to be here to be on the jury. And they were like, every day? That sounds wildly inconvenient. Then, the judge was ready to, hold this jury in contempt and was basically giving them an out because this judge in particular loved contempt. He had a lot of contempt. The entire trial full of contempt. And gave the juror a way out. He was like, look, I could send you to jail, I could fine you, but what I'm gonna have you do instead is write me a 30-page paper on the importance of being a juror. This dude sentenced her to APA style. He sentenced her to citing sources. You couldn't see his face in the moment, but even Thug was like, damn. That's cruel and unusual. I've never heard of that before. There was another juror that admittedly, I don't even know what happened with this person, but I know that they got in trouble for for live streaming the case. Which is extra crazy because it was being live streamed. Like if you had been watching at home, you would just see them sit with the jury like. You risk jail time for an extra angle. We are. Judge Glanville, oof. There was a lot of plea deals being given out the entire case, like I said before. And some of the things that were happening was, this is me guessing, but there were people that were not being super forthcoming, that they probably didn't necessarily have to be, but they were in some sort of trouble. And so the plea deal was just given just as an extra, it's okay, you can talk, we just need to get this guy, right? And even with that, there were still people that didn't quite want to testify. And then there were people that were being so difficult, state's witnesses who were being so difficult that the state just could not get anywhere, And there was one person, star witness. Basically, the prosecution needed a through line. They needed something that would connect everything. And so they laid a lot of it on one person in particular. Okay? And they needed his testimony so bad that they pretty much gave him immunity on the stand. I didn't even know you could do that. It sounds made up. It sounds fake. I feel like he thought it was fake too, because he was like, immunity on, so if I say something on the stand, answering one of your questions, and it implicates Thug, but it also implicates me, I'm okay? Yeah, you're okay, you have immunity. Immunity on the stand, you're gonna be good. You sure? Yeah, you're gonna be good. Okay, I'm not even joking. He goes, okay. Okay, but what if it's federal? And I love that. I love a good haggle. I love like, okay, I hear immunity, but can I get a federal? Can I get some federal? Federal, please. Can I get a little federal? Oh, it's beautiful. This dude gets all the stab, and you can tell he doesn't trust it. You can tell he's like, nah, they're up to something. Doesn't want to answer any questions, but we told you have immunity. All right. Basically compelling this man to testify, dangling immunity in his face. Sits on the stand. First question from a prosecutor. How old are you? And he goes, grown. And the prosecutor's like, what do you mean by grown? It's like, I'm an adult. Prosecutor is like, okay, seeing as you're an adult, how many years is that? And then he goes, looks over at the judge. I plead the fifth. Truly incredible work. Truly phenomenal, They would be asking him lots of questions, question after question. And it was getting frustrating for the prosecution. It was getting frustrating for the judge because, look, maybe I'm doing my best to be as fair as possible. But when you watch a case like this, it does just seem like if you're a defendant, you're up against two parties. You're up against the prosecution and you're up against the judge because everything in this case kept giving the prosecution chances, even when they would mess up. Because once again, they're not being given a lot with testimony, but there are things that they have in hard evidence. They're just not bringing them all together to make it cohesive, right? And then this star witness's testimony is not helping. So then, can't stress this enough, you cannot do this. Judge Glanville supposedly has a secret meeting with the witness and the prosecution, but not Young Thug's lawyers, right? It's something in Latin that I don't know how to pronounce, but you're not supposed to do it. And basically, in this meeting, this witness is then threatened with the dangled immunity and everything. Oh, we'll charge you for this. We'll hold you in contempt for 2 years. We'll put you in jail. All this stuff, unless you start testifying, unless you start answering questions to the best of your ability. I don't want to hear any more of this pleading of the fifth, all that stuff, right? And so then they go back to court and he's answering questions so well that the defense gets suspicious. Defense is like, what happened between now and lunch? All of a sudden, he remembers everything. He remembered what color everybody was wearing. And then it comes to the defense lawyer's attention that there was this secret meeting. And so he addresses it in court, in front of the judge, to the judge. He goes, Your Honor, I've heard some distressing news that there was a secret meeting with you, the prosecution, and the witness. My client and I were not privy to. I don't know what was discussed. This person's acting different now. Like, what is this? And the judge, instead of denying it, instead of being like, that's a horrible accusation, that's not true at all, the judge goes, who told you that? And you can look at it. You can look at it because it was live streamed. You can look. Who told you that? And he's like, Your Honor, don't worry about who told me that. That's the least of my concern. Is who told me that. The meeting is my concern. He's like, no, I need to know. This is very distressing. I need to know who told you that. And he's like, Your Honor, it doesn't matter who told me that. Is that true? Like, did that happen? Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? Over and over and over. And it's just wild that, like, in a RICO case involving supposed gang members, that the judge is like, who snitched? Nah, for real, who snitched? Huh? Like, hey, I need you to come up out them names. Who snitched? Ain't nobody play with. Look, I will bust everybody in here right now. Who snitched? And Doug's lawyer is like, no, look, I'm not going to tell you, all right? I'm not going to tell you how I came upon this knowledge. I'm just asking you if this happened. I'm asking you maybe even for a mistrial. Like, how could this happen? He goes, who told you? Who told you? I'm going to give you 5 minutes to tell me who told you. And Doug's lawyer is like, I don't need 5 minutes. I'm not going to tell you. That should be the least of your concern. Like, is this true? And he's like, I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me. I will put you in jail if you don't tell me. You will go to jail if you do not tell me. It's like, look, I'm not going to tell you. You can put me in jail, but the problem is the meeting. The problem isn't who told me, right? And so then the judge does it. He holds Doug's lawyer in contempt, which is pretty terrifying. You know? This judge is basically going over and over again. Who snitched? Who snitched? I can't stand a snitch. And you know... And you couldn't see Thug's face in the moment, but he had to have been like, I know, right? And so then Glanville does it. He holds Thug's lawyer in contempt. And, you know, the Bar Association hears about it. And they show up to back Thug's lawyer up because that's terrifying. It's terrifying if a judge does something, doesn't even bother denying it, and then holds you in contempt for asking. That's a scary court system. You know what I mean? Because that's one of those things. If it can happen to anybody, it can happen to anybody. Like, I know that it's a case involving hip hop, involving like gang culture, whatever. But that particular thing, that could happen to anybody. I promise you. That's very scary. You know. And so the Bar Association shows up to back this dude up, and it looks like his case is going to be heard, and probably the contempt is going to be thrown out. But basically, they tell Glanville, it's like, there's no way you're impartial. If you're trying this hard, there's no way you're willing to just let the facts play out. And so Glanville has to recuse himself from the case. And one of the things about recusing yourself, it doesn't undo damage. The case just goes on, you know? So there's still this like contempt hanging over Thug's lawyer's head and stuff. And then they move on to the next judge, and the next judge was the judge for a day. I'm not a judge, and I don't know how judges get cases and stuff. Apparently this case was just given to her randomly and everything, and then she got the case and she was immediately like, hey, y'all, I can't. And so many people were like, why? What's the problem? Don't worry about me. I can't right now. And so then the case goes to the third judge. You know, the judge just, that judge. The case goes to her, and she does her best. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult because there are things happening in the case that should just never happen. They actually had an officer come in who was, I guess you could almost call him a specialist in RICO cases through his police work, right? And even he made a mistake on the stand that had the defense asking for a mistrial because basically the state handled the case so poorly, so messy, just so confusing, right? That the defense would be asking for a mistrial consistently. They were asking for a mistrial the way that you act when you got 2 cards left in Uno. Anybody do anything, you're like, oh. Defense would call for a mistrial nonstop. That's a mistrial right there, Your Honor. He just sneezed. That's a mistrial. He gonna get everybody sick. Because this witness on the stand, his testimony, I'm pretty sure, had to be thrown out because even though he's an expert in RICO and everything, it was 2 things were revealed that were pretty distressing. One, it's a RICO case, so they're trying to get everybody on everybody's crimes, but they never bothered to really look at the financial records of Thug. Which is pretty insane if you're telling me that all the money he makes, he runs through and to a gang. And you didn't bother to check a Chase statement or anything? That's wild. And then, while this officer is giving testimony, he makes a mistake that obviously wouldn't be called out by the prosecution, but does not get called immediately. And then the defense hears it, and then they're like, this is crazy. We can't allow it. Basically, he references past convictions as part of a testimony to what this person would have done in this case. And you can't do that. You got to judge it by the merits of the evidence you have in front of you about what happened right now, right? And at one point, the judge loses it. She storms out. The judge goes, I can't take it anymore. She hadn't even been the judge the whole time, but she was like, this is insanity. And you couldn't see his face, but you could imagine Thug being like, I know, right? Like, and so she almost grants a mistrial. There's a mistrial with prejudice and mistrial without prejudice. Mistrial with prejudice is basically don't even bring it up again. Mistrial without prejudice is like, okay, you didn't make the best case or something happened or a bunch of jurors went to the Dominican Republic. So like, we can try it again later.
And so, the judge at one point has had it with the prosecution and is giving like a full on. You just so rarely hear people talk to like this on a live stream that aren't on a Zoom call at home. Like this, she was just like, she was looking at the prosecution and she was at her wit's end and she was like, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I don't know, with the years of experience that you have, I don't know if you were willfully trying this case as badly as possible or if you were just so unorganized that you can't seem to string a coherent thought together on how 2 things are related. And we've heard testimony. There are people that don't show up. We're leaving at 4:25. Like, what is happening? And the whole time, prosecution is like, oh. You ever just take your talking to because you're like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, and like the prosecutor had the same nod that dudes have on the street when they getting yelled at on Valentine's Day. It's just like, just go ahead and nod. Accept that you've messed up. It was so bad. And be thing after thing after thing, whether it was jurors, whether it was judges, whether it was just wild testimony. There were people so uncooperative, right? Like there was one point where they showed this guy a picture, right? And it's a picture of him and Thug and 2 other people. Apparently with the person, I don't know, I didn't see the picture, but apparently with the person who was murdered, right? because that's one of the charges. There's drug trafficking, there's like gun running, there's all this stuff, but there's also a murder, right? And when it comes to the murder, that's one of the big ones, because they're alleging that Thug paid for the getaway car, right? And so once again, not checking his financial record seems like an oversight. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying. And they show a picture, right, with all these people to someone on the stand. And they're like, do you recognize anyone in this picture? And he's like, I see me. Okay, fair enough. Even when it came to start with this, there was one time where they just simply asked this dude, when did you meet Young Thug? And he was like, before I went to jail. And just for the sake of clarity, the prosecutor tried to clarify, which time before you went to jail? And he just goes, you're right. And I don't know how you handle this sort of thing, because this ended up being the longest trial in Georgia's history. Also, one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, because I guess plea deals cost a lot of money. And it gets so bad that every day, defense is like, hey, mistrial's still an option. You want to hit it with no mistrial? We can mistrial. You know what I mean? But then, you know, the prosecution would do something that would kind of warrant a little bit of a mistrial. Like there was even one point where they had someone on the stand read a caption from an Instagram post. And this caption had been poured over because basically through the hashtags, what a lot was being alleged, because, you know, whenever there's letters, whenever there's numbers, it could have no meaning, or it could have double meaning, or it could mean exactly what the prosecution wants it to mean. It could mean what the defense wants it to mean. And so they were arguing about this one picture over and over again before they would let the person just read it out loud to the jury, right? Because then I don't know if it's a gang, and I don't know if that was what the prosecution was alleging, but there was one point where the prosecutor was asking someone on the stand about a series of numbers, right? And a lot of people will sort of rep their area code. That's just a common thing throughout America, right? Exactly. That one, that's one of those things. It's like it's so unifying. Everyone does it. Like sometimes you just can't help it. Yeah. But this is my thing. Dude on the stand, prosecutor asked him, "What's 374?" And he was like, "Numbers." Maybe it's a gang, maybe it's not. I have no idea, right? But basically, there's this one picture that's being poured over and over again, and this was the straw that sort of broke everything, right? Because they made agreements, and they had even redacted the picture so that only what would be read was what the prosecution and defense agreed on based off of the evidence that they were both showing, right? But then when they actually gave the picture to the person on the stand, nothing was redacted. And the prosecutor had them read everything. And so then the defense is like, "Your Honor." I've never heard a lawyer have to like go, Your Honor, kind of like, Mom, like. But this was it, Your Honor. We just went over the thing. Why would y'all? And sure enough, Judge agreed. Judge was like, look, I gotta do something else with my life too. Like, it's just, it can't just be this. And the judge said an interesting thing. And like I said, I know a little bit about the law. Most of it, what not to do from this case. But the judge says something where she's like, I'm basically trying to salvage something here because I don't want an entire jury's 11 months to be wasted. I don't want, which to me is a little weird. Their time's already been wasted. Like, this is about seeing if someone did or didn't do something, you know? And so that statement was said, but then, judge turns to the defense and goes, I'm not going to grant you a mistrial with prejudice, but would you like a mistrial without prejudice? And defense was like, yup. And then she was like, I'm inclined to give it to you because this whole thing, this right here, no. No. And so then, they get to plea dealing a bunch of people day after day after day. And then they actually go to Thug and they're like, look, you're facing like 25, 40 years for all the things that we are alleging, right? But we'll give you probation, right? We'll give you probation if you just admit that you are the leader of YSL, a gang where you can take all the money and you funnel it through into the gang and everything they do is at your direction. Like if you'll just say that probation, you'll be good to go, right? And then Thug says, no, I'm not just gonna accept. You came to me to make your case for you. You know what I mean? No. And that's a very, I don't know, to me, that's a very, like, brave thing. Like, I don't even fully understand all of the conditions around the sentence that he actually got, but that was what he was initially presented with. And he said no. And then the state said, okay, we're going to make sure that you do 25 years. And that doesn't sit right with me. And it obviously didn't sit right with his defense attorney. His defense attorney brought it up when the judge was about to make a decision. Basically, he says, Your Honor, the state came to us and they said he could do probation if he signs this piece of paper, or he could do 25 years if he doesn't. And I'm just kind of curious why the state would allow someone that they're so sure is a racketeering, drug peddling murderer to go free with probation if they're sure, right? And that he'll do 25 years if he doesn't say what they're so sure of. And the judge was like, good point. That is very hard to argue against. And then the judge granted Thug probation and, went home. And there are some people that are like, man, if he could have just stuck it out a little bit longer, seen the trial to its end, there's no way he would have been convicted. The defense was ruining the state, like just at every turn. And it was mostly the state tripping over themselves, right? And I get it, though. That dude sat in jail without bond. Dude was in jail for 2 years. He was in jail for a year while they picked the jury. He was in jail the entire trial, And every once in a while, don't get me wrong, every once in a while, Thug would also laugh. Because, like, he was spacing a lot of time, but every once in a while, he'd also be like, how did we get here? This seems... Far be it for me to say, I'm just a rapper, but as far as the law goes... But what? I don't know. I don't know. I get it. I get somebody tells you, hey, you just do 3 more months, you'll go free forever. Maybe. That's scary, you know? And it's also scary that, like, that the state needed it this bad. That a lot of cases come down to reputation over justice. You couldn't just take the L, right? It's like, no, you will die in prison for me to not look bad. That's terrifying, you know? And I know it feels like it can't happen. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't rap, but I could see myself in a bad situation. You know, because it kind of begs the question, you know, did this person get away with a bunch of stuff, or did the state just jam someone up for 2 years? You know, thanks. But that's my thing. It's like I don't even know, and I'm obviously not Thug. You know, I hope that everybody can like move on in the most prosperous way possible. I really do. Everybody that testified, everybody. I wish the best for everyone. I really do. I just can't seem to think there's a level of peace you have to attain that I don't know if I have. Because if someone accused me of being this like drug running, you know, murderer, this horrible person, like this that did all these things, and they were willing to put me in jail forever with a bad case that they didn't have enough evidence for. And then they were just like, you can go if you just sign it. I think it would make me mad enough to kill someone. But that's just me.
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
Before I came here in San Francisco, there was a pirate. No, it gets worse. There was a pirate threatening a tourist from Brazil with a blowtorch, right? Which, as a pirate, you really shouldn't even have, because you're supposed to be on boats, you're supposed to be around a lot of wood, you shouldn't even have a blowtorch. That's not even a useful weapon for you, right? It should have been a sword, it should have been like a flint pistol, something. That would have made sense. If he had a flint pistol and he pulled it on him, even in the streets of San Francisco, I'd be like, he's on theme. But a full-on blowtorch, how, right? And when I tell you that this man was a pirate, I don't just mean that he was dressed like a pirate. I think he was a pirate. Like, I think he didn't seem like land was treating him well, okay? And so now he has a blowtorch, right? And he's cursing out this person who apparently is this tourist from Brazil, which also, if you're a tourist, I'm not saying don't go to San Francisco, but I'm saying if you are an international tourist coming to the United States, especially for the first time, and the first thing that happens when you get here is a pirate, a pirate roll up on you with a blowtorch, which in any language is confusing, by the way. Like, you don't need to be speaking English to understand that this is a wild scenario that's happening right now, right? And so, you know, they're over here arguing. Now, the person who really saved the day was someone that worked at a coffee shop that saw what was happening outside, right? And so then they ran up and they were sneaking up behind the pirate, right? Getting real, yeah. And it was one of those sneak ups where I was like, "Oh, if he turned around, you cooked." Like if he turned around, because he was quick with it, but he was very smooth with all his movements. But it took him a while to like get close, right? Like he was. You know what it looked like to me? Okay, like when you go to the zoo and something went wrong, and so then one of the zookeepers like trying to get them back in the cage, or they trying to like let them know that that kid in front of you, that's not food, but they getting close real slow, like they're just like, okay, buddy, all right. It's because you know what it is? You can tell the level of danger somebody knows they're in as they approach it by the hip movement. Because he wasn't just walking up like he really like was pivoting as he was getting in. He was like, all right. Okay, all right. It feels like if you use hips only to move forward, nobody will hear you. It's like almost a universal thing when people try to sneak up, you know? That's why you don't see, you like, that's not how your grandparents sneak up or whatever. Because if they tried it, like if your grandma tried to sneak up behind you real good and everything, you just be hearing. So she's like, I'm gonna have to lean, right? But anyway, this dude is like sneaking up behind him, getting real close, and in an instant, snatches the blowtorch and runs off, right? So now we've sort of neutralized the main threat. But the pirate was like, you think I need that blowtorch? I'm a pirate in San Francisco. On the streets in 2024, I don't need weapons. My presence alone is a threat. And so then somebody's filming the whole thing, which normally I'm like, why do people do this? Why do people film instead of help? You know what I mean? Like, why do people just from afar and then they're filming and this is another person who could have been helping that because that guy's sneaking up by himself. He's just, you know what I mean? But then, as someone who watches all the videos, I do get it. Like, I do. You want to criticize it, but if it wasn't for this guy filming, I wouldn't know this was happening. This didn't make the news. It's just regular San Francisco 5 p.m., right? So then, sneaking up, snatches the blowtorch, runs off, right? Now, as he's running off, now this was almost cinematic. You couldn't have planned this better. Because as the coffee shop worker who was running off with the blowtorch passes the camera, like right as his head passes the camera, you see that the pirate had already started punching, right? So it was just boom like that, right? Now this guy tries to roll with it, and he had good form, especially for a tourist that is being approached by a pirate. I would have just been hit. I would have just been like I don't think I would have moved. Like this dude really rolled with the punch. Now this is when the two nudists come into the picture, right? Because there were some nudists that were there anyway. They were going to be naked no matter what. So when the two nudists come up, they're like, this is what we do. We didn't get, because a part of you, if you don't know anything about the culture, you thinking like, oh, they see a pirate, they're like, it must be safe to get naked. They just let you do whatever you want. So they were naked anyway, right? So then one of the nudists sees what just happened, sees that this tourist has been assaulted by this pirate. So then he run up and come in with his, it was really beautiful sequence, because basically the pirate was like, bow, right? And then the nudist comes up and it's like, bow. And then when the nudist swings, okay, so the nudist hit so hard that he did lose his footing, right? So then him and the pirate both fall. And now this is the first point in time where the pirate looks like somebody in this scenario is more uncomfortable than me, right? Like because you see, okay, so the pirate punches that dude and he's clearly like having his own journey, right? But what snaps him back to reality in a moment's time is not only being hit by the nudist, but when they both fall, you can see the pirate. Okay, so the pirate his back is to the camera and you can't really hear him, but you can hear this little like, and then him and the nudist are getting up. Now, if you think, I try to put myself in the mindset of everybody involved in the video, right? Because there's a lot going on, you know? We already got this hero who snatched the blowtorch. Now, this person, we don't know how long they've lived in San Francisco. We don't know how long they worked at the cop shop. We don't know how long they've known this pirate, right? But the way they sprung into action, you could tell it was like, I have to do something, right? They took it upon themselves. Now, as the tourist, I've already mentioned, you being accosted by this pirate, that's weird enough to make a person freeze, right? But for a second, I want all of us to put ourselves in the mind of the pirate, all right? Because the pirate, we don't know exactly what was going through this individual's mind, but we know it was something to do with maybe this tourist, maybe he thinks this tourist stole some of his booty, maybe he thinks, maybe the tourist is standing on the X that he's trying to dig right now. We don't know what's going through his mind, okay? All we know is that he feels emboldened enough and passionate enough to start swinging. And as soon as he starts swinging, he gets a right cross from out of nowhere. He doesn't know anybody else is in this situation with him except this guy. And so then he gets his right cross, so he fall, and the person that hit him also fall. And then when he looks forward, he sees a naked man. So you can see, even on the pirate, like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. This is too much. Wouldn't that be funny if the pirate was like, I'm a Christian, I don't really... But the pirate is also like getting up and everything. Now, the nudist was fast. So the nudist got up before the pirate really knew what happened, because you could tell the pirate calibrating. Like, when did he get naked? Was he always naked behind me? You could tell the pirate got other stuff on his mind. So he tried to get up, but he's also like, when did this guy... And so then the nudist gets up, and the nudist tries to get another lick in before the pirate can get up, because to be fair to everybody involved, you don't know how quick and strong this pirate is, right? Like, is this a PCP pirate? Or is this a meth pirate? Or is this a crack pirate? We don't know. There are categories. And we don't know which one he falls into. You got your first lucky shot on him, and that didn't knock him out, so now you're in trouble, right? So the nudist gets up quick, and when the nudist, okay, he goes to do this thing that you really only see happen in like bus fights, where the pirate's still on the ground and he tries to do a little like, pow, like he tries to do like an uppercut as he's getting up, and I think he misses. He either missed or it didn't faze the pirate at all. He probably got hit and was still like, where did this guy come from? Because also the nudists were white. And so it's on top of seeing a naked man, you just seeing shades of pink coming at you. Because you got to remember, this nudist ready to fight. So you're not in a regular fight with another dude. Like, also, by the way, I'm pretty sure if I remember the video correctly, the tourist has not left, but he has taken He's taking the position of an audience member. He's just like, yeah, it's crazy. And so then the pirate tries to get that extra lick in, and I think he missed and everything. And then the pirate, they have a couple more little scuffles because you can tell that the pirate trying to like fight, but he's not trying to get too close. Which is, look, as far as a tactic, because there's a lot that people don't know about martial arts. There's a lot people don't know about self-defense. And it didn't occur to me until I saw that video that man to man, for real, like if you ever in a fight and you don't really want to fight and you know your opponent doesn't have a gun, right? It's just man on man fisticuffs, right? It would help to get naked. I think the level to which somebody want to fight you goes down the more naked you get. You know what I mean? Like if we have, like you bigger than me, if we have problems right now and you coming at me, but I'm just, like that switches things up for you. Because now you like, what am I going to punch? Like, am I going to, because even if you win and you don't really want to, even if you punching, you just don't really want the risk of touching balls like that. Like if you, because let's say we going head body, but then I go high and you go low, and now all of a sudden my whole knuckles get grazed. But you see, y'all groaning, but I'm right. You don't want to fight now. Next time somebody try you in the street, fellas, just start. Because dudes already take their shirt off. The problem is they not stopping. That's the problem. They're not stopping the whole fight by just taking the rest off. Because the shirt is like, you're not going to be that encumbered by the shirt, right? Might as well drop the pants.
Yeah.
Even take the shoes off. Really confuse them, right?
Yep.
And so you can tell that the pirate really doesn't want to like fully get in there. And so the whole thing starts to just fall apart. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow. I was trying once again put myself in the mindset of everybody involved. Like we went through what the tourist must have been thinking, what the pirate must have been thinking. Even the nudist. Nudist had to have something going on in his head to be like, I have to help. This guy is a blowtorch. And even though somebody just took it from, he's clearly trying to attack this person. He just attacked this person. I need to do something, right? I should call somebody. But you don't have any pockets. I wonder if he reached for it too. Like, we need to get the police. I guess it's me then. Then he ran in like a Superman with his balls out, right? But what I really can't shake is what must have been going on in that second nudist mind. Because both nudists, they were together, by the way. I don't want you to think in the story there was one nudist and then another nudist. They knew each other, right? Maybe they were just walking, enjoying a day, sunning. And then they see all this yelling going on. What was that? What could be happening? And then they see this guy has a blowtorch to his side. They're like, oh, I hope he doesn't intend to use it. And then, you know, they see this guy strike, and then, you know, first nudist just jumps in, starts swinging. Doesn't really have his footing right, doesn't really have his hands ready, but he's trying. That second nudist must have been like, damn, I think they got it. Like, I think they good, you know what I mean? I do like how, I'm not saying they waited in a way that, I don't mean this person was being courageous for stepping in, but I do understand the self-preservation that takes place where you wait to jump in till that blowtorch is gone, because I'm naked. That blowtorch might burn that tourist, but it would change my life. Yeah. about stuff. Oh, I also want to say real quick, thank y'all so much for coming to the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for an amazing weekend and everything. You know, I don't know, you know, when y'all might have seen me for the first time or anything, or you know, what maybe video it was. I've been posting to YouTube for like a year now, and I started it a year ago where I was just like, I was like just sharing like my thoughts on things, sharing my jokes, feelings on stuff, and I appreciate, because it really, I don't know, that was the thing that really turned everything around, and I got to, in some ways, like meet you, and now I'm getting to meet you for real, and I appreciate this opportunity, because it's like, I don't know when you may have seen your first video, or if you even know who I am. You might be like, she brought me. Like, that's also very fair. I will not be offended at all, right? But I appreciate you, for real. I appreciate you taking a chance on me and coming here to have a good time and letting me talk to you and everything. I've done lots of shows that were not. I've done shows where they didn't know I was coming, right? I've done shows where they booked me to do the show, and then I show up, and they're like, oh, we also gonna play the Blackhawks game behind you. And I'm like, oh, does anybody want a show? He's like, no, it's a surprise. Don't surprise. So I've definitely done shows that were, you know, on the rough side, because people weren't there to hear what I was gonna say. And I get it. I do get it. That's why I don't take anything lightly, that I get to be here in front of you. And everything that I say, I'm not always going to be perfect, but I try to be thoughtful about what I'm saying, you know. And I think sometimes when you bring something up, because you do comedy, people think whatever you bring up, you're making light of to trash it, or that's why sometimes people get uncomfortable when you talk about anything and you're a comic. They're like, oh, this person's going to be shitty, right? They're going to be shitty about a thing that I care about. And just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I'm belittling it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I take very seriously, but I still feel like I need to talk about, because conversation is important, you know? And oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see. It's been a scary day, you know? It has. It's like, I hope you're not finding out from me. But someone at a rally, someone. Don't do that. I'm just telling you what happened. At a rally, someone shot at Trump while he was doing his rally. And I still don't know. There's so much we don't know. But some people say it was a bullet, and some people say it was glass. But either way, he got a cut over his ear, and the person that was behind him got shot, and they died. Right? And they've apparently shot the suspected gunman and everything, and it's just it's one of the wildest days in a long time, because there are days that are like checkpoints throughout American history. Like we had a birth as a country, and then you can set the checkpoints wherever you want, but there are big ones. There are big ones like the country starts, and then there's a civil war later, right? And the Civil War is a turning point for the country forever. You know what I mean? There are people that even now say we're more divided than ever, and I like to remind them that we did have a civil war. Yeah, I mean, Then you need to read a history book. Then ever. Ever? No, not ever. You know? So you have something like the turning point that happens due to a civil war, which even now, even to this day, hundreds of years, there are people that are hundreds of years removed from the people leading up to the civil war that were in their family, that they still have differing opinions on like the Civil War, why it happened, how it went down, what should have happened, right? And then you have Lincoln's assassination. That's another turning point for the country forever, right? Because once things are put on the table with time, they're never taken off. There's always something that could happen, you know? And then you fast forward more, and we've had turning points. We've had really scary days. And people can belittle it as much as they want or whatever, but we've had times where we're like, oh, are we a country anymore? And so you see those moments like that, right? And there are people who are even now, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that there's going to be another version of the Civil War, right? Because the people that hate people so much throughout this country for whatever political affiliation for whatever they say. This is the thing about being online as well. When you go around, you know, I go everywhere. I try to go everywhere. And I'm trying to meet people everywhere. And when I meet these people, almost all the people, and some of them are having a bad day, some of them have had a past, whatever, but most people, pretty pleasant, right? It's easy to forget that online. Because online, people have the safety to be a troll, and there's also bots. So you could go through your life and bump into people all day and have nothing but beautiful experiences. But then you get online and you post a picture of yourself because you're happy about, you know, maybe something that you bought and you look good in. And there's all the comments under it. Why are you wearing that skirt, bitch? It's like that is happening in real life, but that is not real life. Right? The people that you meet in person are real life. The people that you meet every day, that's real life, right? So I'm not saying it's real life as in it doesn't matter. I'm specifically saying that like the grace that you give in person is that's our better nature. That's what we would hopefully have all the time. It's being online that makes people monsters to you before you meet them. You look at those pinpoints, and there are people that are worried about us falling into the trap of another civil war, like so much hate, right? And I personally don't think that's going to happen. I'm not just hopeful. I actually don't think that's going to happen because if I'm being honest with everyone in here, we don't have the grit. I'm not saying that there aren't people with guns. I'm not saying that people have murderous intentions for their fellow Americans. I'm saying that as a country, it's we would get tired too fast. We would. Like it would be day 8 and there'd be people in America wake up on whatever side you on being like, again? No, I'm not saying that violence is impossible, and I pray it doesn't happen. I pray even more now that it doesn't happen than I did before, but I think that it's not going to split up the way that it did. You got to remember, the country was full of colonies, and travel was difficult. So when the country split and we had our full-on civil war, it was a different time truly, right? And now you have family that lives here, you have family that lives over there, you have family who's moving. Because we're too interconnected now in a way that I think is good, in a way that actually forms a union, right? We're quilted together now. So no matter how you split us up, whether it's north and south, east and west, eventually, whatever side of the war you're on, eventually someone would be like, I just want a good taco. I believe what I believe in, whatever, but I cannot have another bagel. I am stopped up. For my health, I can't do it. And we don't know anything yet. Like we really don't. Everyone's talking, right? It just happened. So everybody is talking, Happened like 6 hours ago, and everybody's talking, everybody's speculating. There's already the conspiracy theories. There's already like some vitriol started. We don't know, and we can't act like we know just because we feel a lot, right? Because this is the other thing. You talk about pinpoints in time. You talk about checkpoints. Civil War then leads to Lincoln's assassination. That's another checkpoint that we cannot come back from, because once things are on the table, they're on the table for the rest of time. That's why you have to be careful what you say and what you do, And so then you fast forward even more. It makes me think about the assassination attempt on Reagan. Because Reagan still is one of those figures that's like either beloved or absolutely despised, right? The policies they put forward and the aftermath afterward, people feel how they feel about it, right? But when you think about that person that shot Reagan, right? We were in a different time of division back then. It was still pretty, relatively civil, relatively ideal by today's standards, right? But let's say we had lost our minds then and been like, oh, this is a plot. This is an inside job. This is a conspiracy. Let's say we lost our minds when Reagan got shot, and then you actually talk to the shooter, and then you find out why he did. He's like, oh, I just wanted Jodie Foster to like me. Imagine that, though. Imagine if we had lost our minds. Imagine if we had had some sort of civil war, some sort of backlash, some sort of retribution over here, all for somebody who's like, did Jodie Foster see it, or just trying to find out what Jodie doing? That's my thing. That's my sincere hope, right? I'm hopeful, and I hope you know that I pray for all of you. I pray for all of us, like I do. And even if you don't subscribe to whatever metaphysical subscription you hold, right? Because at the end of the day, we really are all Americans. I know it doesn't feel that way. But every one of us, just by the reaction that y'all had when I told you that somebody died, that we all still have our humanity. We don't want to see anything bad actually happen to anybody, because you don't know that person. You don't know anything about the person that died today, but you know that they were an American, and they were a human being, right? And so I think that what I've decided when it happened, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. No matter anyone listening to me, you can do what you want. But when I saw it happen, I decided in that moment that this right here is where I'm going to plant my feet, right? I'm not going to let this make me radical one way or the other. I'm not going to lose my mind, because we don't know. And two, the humanity we show to each other just in passing, that's really important. And honestly, all this is going to be funny again in a minute. I haven't forgotten. Like, I didn't forget. Like, I wasn't like, let me get him with the yucks and now lock the door. Like, I just hope, like, my sincere hope is that this can be the thing that, like, scares us straight. You know what I mean? Like, this can be the thing. It's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't actually want any violence. I don't want anything bad to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're snowballs, right? So I just, I think about that, and I think about, if you're not familiar with the show Scared Straight, basically what they do is they take kids, right? Then kids who are pretty bad, right? They're like bad kids, and then and the kids are very hard to root for, because by the beginning of the episode, they're always like, I punched my grandma in her face, right? And then And then they take them to jail and they spend a weekend at jail because it really just takes a weekend. They spend a weekend at jail with the inmates and then they try to do what they do at home with the inmates. Like, I punched my grandma in the face and then one of the inmates is like, kiss me. And it's just, it changes, right? It changes the vibe. And I'm not saying it works for every kid, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof thing. We can talk about child psychology however you want. But I'm saying for the kids that it does work for, it was actually something bad happening that woke them up, right? It wasn't just me coming to my senses one day. It was like, this is rock bottom. You know? You don't just wait for rock bottom. You don't just try to fall until you find it. You can decide it for yourself. This feels like granite. I think I'll stop here, right? But I also know that, like, sometimes if you don't say anything, if the thing goes unsaid, people think it goes unthought, right? And if you don't reach out to people don't know you care about them. I care truly. And people are going to feel the way they feel about me or feel about me talking about this, but I care about every single American in a serious way. We're a country, and we're a country of people that are different. We're a family of people that sometimes hate each other. That's what family does most of the time. I went and got a dentist through unconventional means. Basically, my dentist was handing out coupons. You know the little door knocker coupons that they put on the doorknob? Okay, so my dentist had been putting those on the doors in my neighborhood, and so I came home one day and I grabbed it and came inside. It was that and 2 pizza coupons, and I was reading it. I really don't even remember what the deals were, but this is when everybody was trying to make everything a coupon, like in 2013, 14, when everybody was like Groupon was big and all this stuff like that. Like, I don't remember what the deals were, but it was like 2 teeth get 1 free. Whatever it was, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a teeth cleaning on there, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go get my teeth cleaned at my new dentist, because if this dentist has coupons, this is the dentist for me. I have no money. And I didn't have like dental or anything, so I was like, I need any break I can get. Now, I went there, and the dental assistant was very professional. She was very good, and that's my thing, is that any professional of any type, you want them to be confident in their competence, right? Like, you want that's why you lean on them, because they look like they know what they're doing, and they have the confidence in somebody that knows what they're doing, so you just leave it to them, right? If there's any point where you have to question that, it ruins the whole like, I've been on the bus before where the bus driver looked lost. And I'm sitting, I'm like, why is he checking his phone? Like, but I'm in this dentist office. The dental assistant is amazing, and she's very quick, and she's asking me the questions. They even do the X-ray of my teeth where they put the thing in their mouth. They're like, doo, 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 doo. That's your teeth, right? Like, she did all that stuff, and then my dentist comes in, and my new dentist, walks in. And he is very clearly missing a tooth. And it's not like a wide smile, back of the mouth chewing tooth. This is one of the stars of the show. This is one of the teeth that when you smile goes like, ba-da, like it's. And so he missed, I don't know how to describe this, but he misses the tooth hard. Like, he might as well be missing 2 teeth the way he missing this tooth, because it's not a center tooth, but it's it's one of those teeth where because it's missing, I don't know how big it should be, so it feel like he missing the whole front row. Like it's very distracting, right? And so then he come in, and I don't know if it was recent that he lost his tooth or something, but the space in relation to his tongue is causing some slippage, and it's making him lisp, right? And so he walks in and he's like, "Hi, how are you? Have a seat." Because I stood up to shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And I'm like, and then this dude is like, so he's sitting next to me, right? And he's talking and he's asking me all the questions. And then so he goes, "How much do you floss?" And this, so I was getting upset in the chair because, you know, he's asking me, "How much do you floss?" And I'm like, "Oh, I floss every day." He's like, "Are you sore?" And I'm like, I got so upset. I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my head, but I was like, okay, but which one of us is missing? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you question what I'm doing over here when I'm working with a full set? You know what I mean? Like that. That's why. Are you sore? Like, I was like, that's unacceptable. Because he was getting snippy with it, which I didn't like. That's attitude, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I don't like how he's going about it, because you know how the dentist will, sometimes the dental assistant will do it, but sometimes the dentist specifically will go through with the floss again and go over the dental assistant's work, if they didn't feel like they did it right. And then he was grabbing all the tools, you know, like the little sharp, little poke, the tools of the devil, right? He was grabbing all of them, and he was in my mouth and everything. And I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like, he being rough with my mouth, you know what I mean? And he being rough in a way that's like, you know, like when you driving and somebody got a beat up car, so they driving reckless because they don't care. They don't care anymore what happens to their car, so they might as well bust up your car because their car's already doomed, right? And you'll see it'll be like a busted tail light and just no bumper at all, and they taking some real risks without turning lights on, right? They won't have that blinker on at all. They just be picking whatever lane they want because they're like, "Hit me, I dare you," right? Hit me. You might knock something back right. You'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and hit me, okay? And so that's how he's being in my mouth, because he's really like going hard, and then he gets to the tooth on me that he missing, and he really give it a, and I'm like, that's not okay, you know? Just because it's over for you doesn't mean, like I still have a future, you know what I mean? Like, how dare you do that? And so then, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm young and I'm just like not really thinking, or because I'm awkward in a lot of social situations anyway, but finally I was just like, so what happened? And then this man had the nerve to go, "What, this?" What else could I mean, sir? No, there's something on your lip. No. He's like, "Oh, this?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he takes the tools out, you know, the little hose that they have in your mouth, and just sucking up all. So he puts that to the side, puts the tools down, puts his hands on his knees, and goes. Got sullen, right? I felt bad for asking. He got really quiet and sullen. He was like, "I hoped you wouldn't notice." Sir, you came in here teeth first. Smiling in my face. And you thought I wouldn't notice. one of the main teeth.
Rude.
I can't stress this enough. Like, it was one of the teeth that if he committed a crime, that would be how they got him. Like, that's... Do you know what I mean? Like if he stole something tonight, they'd be like, it was this one that was... You know what I mean? Didn't even have a gold tooth in there. Didn't even have something to be like, oh, I'm a different type of dentist, right? It didn't... Just avoid. And it was big enough I could see through, like I could see his throat. Like it was... And he got sullen and he was like, it's actually recent. I was out with some friends. And this is my thing. Okay, like, I know he telling me the story because it wasn't even my business, so he didn't have to tell me anything. So I know he's doing me a favor by telling me the story, but I swear to you, this man hit every S possible in this story. He didn't avoid any of them. I was like, what are you doing right now? Bro, every single S? That's crazy. So he's like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was out with some friends, and we were watching the sports on the little sports center they have with all the TVs and everything. There was one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time from college. It was very serendipitous, and I was like, that... Don't do that. You didn't need that one at all. That was... You could have said fortunate. And so then, you know, we're sitting there, and you know, I was having a good old time. I was sucking the sauce off my fingers and everything. And then there were some guys a few booths away that I would start jawing at one of my friends. I guess they knew him from his past or something. And so then they would start talking, you know, over at us. And so then, you know, we went over there and then, you know, they were out here talking shit. And it's like truly some of the most Chicago shit I've ever heard in my life, because these like out here talking shit, and then, you know, I went ahead and I popped one in their mouth, and then he popped me right back, and I swallowed, so that's why I'm missing the tooth, and I heard that and I was like, oh, is that all? Okay, go ahead. Go back to work. You a good dentist. You was not a good fighter. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Maybe next time let them talk, you know?
Asheville, North Carolina. Make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I've been very excited to come here. It's been years since I've been to Asheville, and I like being here because y'all have it all. You know, you have like street crime and woods crime. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the only places in America where a deer could get shot with a Uzi. You know what I mean? Like, y'all really moving out here. No, it's incredible. I was, you know, last time I was here, we were on the road and we were headed to a show, and there was a dude. Okay, there's no good way to pop out the woods. I'm trying to be fair to him, right? Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know how it could have been better, but there's no good way. This dude, we're passing by in the car, and, you know, things happen fast when you're on the highway and everything, but from far away until I passed him, I see this dude pop out going, and it's so hard to tell if he needed help or if someone else needed help. Do you know what I mean? Like, you either the victim or the assailant, but you looking like you could be equal parts right now. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like his head, like it wasn't like he had an injury or something. He's like, oh, what happened? He looked surprised that there wasn't more woods to run through. This dude popped out of the woods like there was supposed to be more trees. This man popped out of the woods and froze. And my friends and I were just looking at him in the car as we passed. One pointed and, okay. He ran out of the woods as if to be like, oh, I made it, I'm free. Or, damn, they got away. I can't tell which one it was. No, because he was dressed. It wasn't like he was a naked man, but okay, even if you're wearing clothes, there's a certain amount of legs open that make you feel naked to other people. You know what I mean? The fact that he ran out like it doesn't matter that I have pants on right now. This is a very naked stance to take. This doesn't look, these aren't regular clothes stances. And so the fact that he ran out of the woods and stopped and was looking around, it's like, you might as well be naked because you're making us a naked amount of uncomfortable, you know? My man busted out of the woods. And, I wasn't next to him. I was in a car. Thank God I was in a car. But you could just tell from looking at him, he breathing heavy, which means he was running in the woods for quite a while. Looking around all low. Why? Just stand up. Like, do you know what I mean? There's nothing to hide behind now. So being this low, legs open, looking around, this is a much more comfortable position to look around in. This man ran out, and we saw him. Okay, so we saw when he busted out of the woods, we were pulling up. So we saw him bust out of the woods, and then one of my friends pointed, and I know he couldn't hear us. I know he couldn't hear us. Like you should know I know that. I know he couldn't hear us, and the windows were up. He couldn't hear us, right? But my friend was like, do you see that guy? And right when he said, do you see that guy? This man, I turned, I looked, and he looked at me. Now, I know I'm in a moving car. He probably just looking in my direction. But I screamed like he was in the car. I wanted to have nothing to do. The fact that this man, I'm lit like this, and then this man, nah. Sometimes it's not the time to smile, Smiling after running out of the woods, I think you are the assailant. I think that you... But no, it's great to be back. It's great to be back in Asheville with you. Can I tell you a story? When I was a kid, I was walking down the street, and it's funny, man. Art can save your life. It really can. Cause I was walking down the street, and there was this dude right in front of me, right? And I wasn't like too close to him, but I was just basically keeping up pace with him, and we hit a light, and so he stopped, I stopped, and I was just looking around, and I saw a new mural that had been painted, and
I don't know, it just fascinated me. I took a second to look at it, and I guess the light had changed, and we had the right of way, and he went off walking, and I was still just staring at it. And then, just as I decided that I had taken it in enough, I turned and got ready to take that step off the sidewalk. And then, in the middle of the street, this car had, I guess, run a light and was about to run another light, and it hit that guy, the guy that I was right behind, you know? And he's okay, by the way. I mean, he did get hit by a car, but like he's the level of okay that you are years after getting hit by a car. He moved on. Like, he walked away that day. It mostly hit his ass, but like it did graze him in a way that, like, because I was just a couple steps behind him and because I've been keeping pace with him for a whole street, I was like, that would have hit me square. You know? And I mean, they were trying to stop. They had slammed on the brakes. That's actually maybe one of the reasons I turned, because I started hearing the screech and I saw it, boom. And he got up, but he did bounce. Like it's like, if he bounced, I would have flown. I don't know why it is when you get hit by a car, sometimes your shoe fly off. I don't know why people don't tie their shoes tight enough, but like, this thing like hit him from behind. He spun and he went up a little bit and his shoe flew right, but his shoe took so little resistance to fly off. Like, it would be different if he had like rolled over the windshield and the shoe flew off after that. But the shoe started flying off before it looked like he was really going in the air. It looked like he had one shoe and one sandal. The shoe was so ready to fly off. Anyway. I still can't get over what happened Sunday at the Super Bowl. Like, I want to be clear about something, right? I watched the Super Bowl not really rooting for any one team, just sort of watching to watch. This is a big event and everything. And the Chiefs lost harder than the Eagles won. I don't know if that sentence makes enough sense, but it, like, at a certain point, I was just like, maybe I could play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not good either. I could get tackled too. Oh, that was rough. That was hard. There was one point where I was watching it, and I was like, guys. You want to watch a good game. Like, in my mind, you want to watch a good game, especially when you don't have any loyalty to any team. You just want to watch like a really fun, wow, that's crazy type game. And it was such a thrashing that I was like, y'all, not in front of Taylor. Taylor done shown up and got dressed and everything. And there was one point that they went to Taylor on the camera and they booed Tayller. I was like, what did she do? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing America hates more, apparently, than a woman minding her business. Because even she was like, I couldn't have done anything. But I tell you what, you know, I want somebody to believe in me, to really, truly, from the bottom of their heart, believe in me the way those commentators believed the Chiefs could make a comeback. The things that I was hearing made me feel dumb. I started to feel like I didn't understand football at all the way they were talking. They were talking so wild about, so first 10 points that the Eagles got, they were like, hey, fun little fact for you. Every time the Chiefs win in the Super Bowl, they come from behind. I was like, what stat is that? All right. Okay. And then the Eagles scored another touchdown. They were like, well, it's only the first half. Anything could happen next half. It's like, all right. And then they have the halftime show. Then they come back from the halftime show, and then they're asking one of the announcers. They're asking one of the commentators, like, what was the mood like in the locker room for the Chiefs? Like, what was the plan? And the person they were talking to was like, they know. No, they know they like 34, 39, whatever points behind. They were mostly talking about that. They were like, oh, we got to go out there and correct that. That doesn't feel good at all. We got to do the opposite of that next time. Was the general mood in there, was to just be different than they were before. I think there was a little prayer. Yeah, they were in, they were in tough spirits, but they're going to try and make a comeback in this next, because, Taylor's here. We got to do it. And it was the third quarter. Eagles scored again. And the announcers came on, they're like, look, you never want to celebrate too early if you're the Eagles, right? Because you have no idea what these Chiefs could do. You can tell they're just trying to save the ratings as hard as possible to make it seem like there could be this 10-second comeback of 59 points or whatever they need. It was the most insane. I was like, no one has ever believed in me the way that they're like, you never know though. Even when it was the last 5 minutes, they were like, you never want to celebrate too early because that's how you can lose the game even when you are 99 points ahead, okay? It's the hubris that loses games. I'm sitting there like, do I not know how to count? Like, it's too many sevens away. I think they got it. Like, I'm not the best at math, right? I'm not the best at math. I needed a math tutor, and my math, okay, I was the algebra, okay. Math is like one of the only things that I really struggle with genuinely, and not like basic math, but math once it gets conceptual, right? And so I had to take Algebra 1 twice. It's the only class in my life, I think, or maybe there's one other, but it's one of the only classes I've ever failed and had to take again, right? And so I'd take Algebra 1 twice, and I was so thankful when I finally got a C after the second time, and then they made me take Algebra 2, and I was like, last I checked, 1 + 1 is 2. I don't know what y'all are trying to do to me, okay? But I was at Algebra 1, okay, I had 2 math tutors, and one tutor quit. One tutor quit because it was, okay, they were helping me, and then I was basically getting things so wrong that they were questioning. They had to get away from me before they didn't know algebra anymore. And so then I knew I was bad. I knew that algebra was never going to be in my job description because my second tutor, there was one time we were working on a problem and she stopped herself just short of fully saying it, but she saw me struggling so hard. This woman almost said, sound it out. And she stopped herself, but you could tell, beneath the surface, there was this thing of I don't even know how to help right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. I hate when people look at the efforts of elite athletes as if they're not all incredible. The Kansas City Chiefs are good. They were just bad that day against the Eagles. I throw a football like I just got an arm. So I'm not going to be over here judging too harshly, right? It's just the way that they fought so hard. Oh no, they can pull it out. Trust me. They can do it. And then my friend shared a theory with me. This was crazy. This dude told me, I was talking to my buddy David, and David said, because I told him the thing I just told you, right? I was like, I've never seen a game like that where they've tried to make it seem so even the whole time, even though the numbers were on the screen. And my buddy David said that Tom Brady was one of the ones really pushing that narrative. And he thinks that it was because Tom Brady is jaded from the fact that off of this potential three-peat, people are already calling Patrick Mahomes like a GOAT, like putting him in that conversation. And so they're like, they're basically lifting up Patrick Mahomes very quickly and very young, very like, you could even maybe say a little early in his career for the GOAT conversation. And then Tom Brady, who's obsessed with the game and gave so much of his life to it, sees that and feels some type of way. And so he was basically telling me that every time they did that, that was actually just Tom Brady digging in. And I watched some of it again, and I think he might be right. Because it was coming off hella sassy when you watch it back with that context. Like when you see Tom Brady commentating on the game, he's like, yeah, Mahomes. I mean, you never know with these Kansas City Chiefs and how good Mahomes is. Maybe he can come back from 30 points. I mean, maybe he's just that good. We don't know, right? A lot of people are calling him the GOAT. I mean, not today, but a lot of people are calling him the GOAT. So maybe he could do it. Interesting strategy, getting sacked again. I've never seen anything, but this Patrick, he's good. He's very good. He's probably used this as a strategy to lose by so many points in the first half that he really comes back in the second half. Because he can, because he's Patrick Mahomes. You know, back when I was playing, I tried to not get sacked, but I guess if I had been sacked more and then won after that, people would be more impressed, but it's... And then you had the Super Bowl halftime show. By Kendrick Lamar. This was crazy because, okay, everyone has their opinions about it, right? But I know when I was watching it and it started, and I saw Samuel L. Jackson. I saw Samuel Jackson, camera goes over to Samuel Jackson, he's like, it's your uncle, Sam. And I was like, oh, we had already started. That was dope. That was dope to have Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam was dope. Because one thing is obviously the little like wink wink, cute thing, right? But one thing that Kendrick is incredible at doing, something I haven't seen people really be able to do, whether it's through music or imagery, is layers to a story. And there's multiple layers to everything that happened, right? Samuel Jackson is playing Uncle Sam in Body of America, welcoming us to the Great American Game. The Great American Game is in the game of Kendrick's life that's about to play out, right? That's why we see the PlayStation controller on the football field, the game as in football, and the game as in the thing that we're all in, the thing that we all play. Whether you feel like you're playing it or not, you're a part of it. You know? And one thing you have to watch out, because Kendrick leaves these Easter eggs and stuff like that, you also can read so deep into it, you go off on a deep end where if you were able to talk to Kendrick, he would be like, nah. The internet is full of them. The internet is full of like, yeah, so then he had these dancers come out in red, white, and blue because Drake, because he beat Drake blue, and then you gonna see red because we beat him so much that the red comes out and Drake is white. Like, I think that's a very misguided take. But you can get there. It's very easy to get there. You start searching, hunting, trying to read into every little thing. And if you're not careful, yeah, you go off on some deep end. That's not what anybody intended, you know? And this dude says it because that's the other thing. He sets you up with some pretty fire lines that make you start digging. He specifically says, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So now even I'm digging. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, the Louvre. All right. Drake is Canadian, French Canadian, the Louvre. Yeah, French Canadian, the Louvre, like in France, where they keep the art. But Drake's not an artist, no. No, that might not be it. That might be, that was dumb, my bad. And so he does the snippet, some people are calling it bodies, and then he does Squabble Up, and out of nowhere, after Squabble Up, Samuel Jackson comes out again, no, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. One of the things that if you've been black in America at any point you've heard about yourself, whether you overheard it from people talking behind your back or it was told to your face, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. There's something wrong with you just being yourself. You know? And it's delivered by Uncle Sam. Right? I don't know, when I go to like a new place, one time my friend was asking me, because I travel so much, he's like, how do you know how racist a place is? When you go there, you know, don't you think about it? I was like, yeah, I think about it. You know, if you're black and you travel America, you think about it a little bit. And I was like, you know, this is the way that I know. I'll just go to like a West Elm or a Patagonia or a Lululemon or. I'll just walk in and look around, do a little shopping, and just smile at people. And however long it takes them to smile back is probably how much danger I'm in. You know, you go into Patagonia, you smiling at everybody. Hey, and you get a couple smiles back quick. You're like, all right, we're safe. But if you walk into a West Elm and everybody just looking, looking at each other too. No, you say something. Somebody finally approaches. They're like, can I help you? I know we're not staying there tonight. So then this dude, Uncle Sam, Samuel Jackson, tells him, tighten up. He asks him, Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Do you really know how to navigate? Do you really know what's expected of you? Do you really know what to do next? Then tighten up. And that's a wild conversation to have with someone who maybe even thinks they're helping you, right? Because that's been told to me in different ways by lots of people. Like, tighten up, watch yourself. Don't be too loud, too ghetto, too reckless. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's white people, sure, but sometimes it's older black people that I know that just want you to be safe because they know how the game is played, right? Because I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I'm not exactly a hard individual. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Not only am I not a hard individual, I remember one time, you know, my mama tried to raise me to be a gentleman. And there was this one time, I was in college, and I'm working on a group project, and one of our classmates was ready to go to her car, and she was like, hey, does anybody mind walking me to my car? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, does anybody mind walking us to my car? I'm not a hard individual. You know, I'm smiling at everybody. Literally, I use the smile test. That's how I know if a place is safe or not. I smile. I make myself open, right? I show I'm no threat. And I even got in trouble with my friends one time because we were walking down the street in Chicago and, made eye contact with this cop. And he was like mourning, just a little passing mourning. And then I didn't realize it came out like this, but apparently I was like, "Officer." I don't remember it like that, but apparently that's how I sounded. My friends were very upset with me. One of them said I said it like I was welcoming him home. I thought I just said, "Officer." Apparently I was like, "Officer." So once again, I'm not a hard individual. So if I've got the speech, if I've got that speech, tighten up. That's too loud, that's too reckless, that's too ghetto. If I got it, damn. There's no end to the game that you can try to play with respectability politics. You can either be yourself or you can't. And if you can't, then to whatever degree that you can't, doesn't really matter. Do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up. It goes into Man at the Garden. And Man at the Garden is one of those things. It's a refrain. I deserve it all. All these things, right? And he's on the block. And you see these boys on the block, so black. Gold teeth, dreads, everything. And then they scurry. They see Uncle Sam coming. Uncle Sam walks up. Kendrick's already walked off. And he says, "Oh, you brought your homeboys with you. Okay, little culture cheat code." Turns to the camera and says, "Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life." And some people didn't hear it. Apparently the mixing wasn't great for everybody. So there were some people whose review of Super Bowl halftime was pretty bad, and some people thought they were just being haters. But no, genuinely, depending on where you watched, it depended on the mix that you heard. So there were little things that Kendrick said that either went over people's heads, they didn't quite hear, music was too loud, too soft, whatever. I was watching the Super Bowl halftime on Tubi, and Tubi did incredible. Tubi knocked it out of the park. I was like, man, Tubi was like, this is our chance. We cannot mess this up. A lot of people don't know we exist. And we're literally free. We have to knock this out of the park. And they did, because I heard everything. I saw Samuel Jackson turn, scorekeeper, deduct 1 life, and that thing hit me hard, because that is what happens. That is part of the game. You should know that. That's one of the reasons that it's sometimes scary to stand up. It's scary to be different, because whenever you build community, they usually deduct 1 life. Whenever you make a movement, they deduct 1 life. And there are plenty of examples of it happening with black people and black culture, but it is everybody, just so you know. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter when you came to this country, try to start a union. And look, it might not be you. They might miss. But it is what happens. Deduct 1 life. And it's wild to hear Samuel Jackson deliver that line, because Samuel Jackson was an usher at Martin Luther King's funeral. Right? Like, Samuel Jackson used to be way more militant. And I'm not saying he's not now. I'm just saying, like, back in the day, he was about that action. He'd lock you in a room and wait till you came to your senses. So then they go to Peekaboo. I don't know, it's just funny to me what Kendrick just played the Peekaboo. Nah, I had to laugh.
People have so many theories about Peekaboo, about him using Luther and all the stars, SZA coming out, being on the triangle. Like, I'm not acting like I caught every single thing, but I know that when Samuel Jackson pops up again and he says, yes, see, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what America wants. Nice, calm, you're almost there. Don't mess this up. Right? Yeah. Because if we're being honest, that is the truth of the matter. People, even sometimes people who love hip hop, love black people, love anyone different the way that people love those tigers they take pictures with. I don't know if you've ever been on Tinder, but every once in a while on Tinder there'll be somebody with one of their pictures is just them next to a full-blown tiger, hugging them, and the tiger's sedated as hell. The tiger is over here. And they're over there hugging its neck like they're in the Jungle Book. Like, we have to protect these beautiful animals, all right? We have to preserve their way of life. Oh, shoot him again. Shoot him again with the dart. He looked like he was opening his eyes for a second. So sweet, so gentle. Deep down, they're just gentle creatures. Shoot him again. He moved. That leg. I don't like what that leg doing. Looked like he gonna get up. And that is how people sometimes, prefer their hip hop, prefer their protests. Why can't you just do it sedated? Why can't you just tone it down a notch, right? And then he plays Not Like Us. And people lose their minds. I loved him. I loved him playing it because of what he said when he started it. 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. That's wild. If you really think about those lines in any context outside of the Super Bowl, outside of Drake, the song, Not Like Us, everything, they still stand all on their own. How many of us feel like we're in a rigged game? And it was beautiful to watch Not Like Us get played on that world stage, Drake tried. He tried his best. That dude tried his damnedest. Not only did he try, that dude went to Australia. Not only was he not in America, he was under the earth. This man went under earth to do, to his credit, I'm not acting like he's not a big artist. I'm not acting like he doesn't have an album dropping this weekend. I'm saying like this dude went under the earth to do an arena show just to make sure at least these people aren't watching the Super Bowl. Can you imagine? You go to that Anita Max Win tour. You paid extra for tickets. You pretty close, and you get a little curious. Drake on stage. What is that? What is that? Get him out of here. Then, you had that dude. That dude performed Not Like Us. When I was like 2 years ago, I went to visit my friend. Now my friend had a baby years before that. By the time I met his kid was 5 because we hadn't seen each other a really long time. And cutest kid. It's crazy that my friends are having kids because I can see, you ever see somebody who looks so perfectly like a mix of their parents? You see perfectly both of those people in this new person. And we were supposed to hang out all day, and he went and we were in the kitchen and he grabbed something for us to drink. And so he had poured himself an almond milk,
kid something. He was like, "Will you want anything?" I was like, "Oh, I'll just take that." And then poured me some. He's like, "I'm gonna just go ahead and get changed. I'll be right back." He goes upstairs, and now it's just me and his kid. And I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm good." And it's crazy because he even had I'm just meeting this kid, but he already had my buddy's mannerism. Just that shoulder thing. "I'm good." It's exactly like his dad. "I'm good." I was like, "Oh, okay. You having a good day?" He's like, "Yeah." You know, it's like, "You excited? I think we're gonna go to the zoo or something." He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm excited. Be fun, you know." And then he turned around and he knocked my milk over. And this kid had been so sweet up until this point. I was sure it was an accident, right? Until he turned to me and he was like, "I spilled your milk." And when I tell you that thing was imprinted on my memory, I had actually forgotten about it for these 2 years. Until Kendrick said, "Say, Drake." Kendrick Lamar has an incredible smile. But he always seems to use it for dastardly deeds. This man said, "Say, Drake." I haven't been that scared. I know he was talking to Drake, but even I was at home like, ooh. That man whipped around and said, "Say, Drake," like he just ran out of the woods. Oh, that was crazy. That was insane. "Say, Drake." And then you see a glimpse of Serena. I couldn't believe I saw Serena dance. I was like, "Is that Serena?" And Kendrick and Dave Free must have known we wouldn't believe it was Serena because then they showed her again. I was like, "Well, that is Serena!" That's Serena over there, crip walking. Which, if you pay attention to the layers, you pay attention to the storytelling, one of the most beautiful things about Serena being on stage, crip walking, dancing, right, is not just as a sort of FU to Drake, right? Because it is. Because her and Drake, you know. And then Serena moved on, and Drake couldn't handle it. A lot of people think that Kendrick Lamar is Drake's kryptonite, and he really isn't. Drake's kryptonite is a woman who's moved on. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that Drake hates more than a woman minding her business. And so he would make songs, little sneak disses at Serena, little sneak disses at Rihanna, all this stuff, right? He loves beefing with women who have moved on. The best way I can sum up Drake to me is one time I was in Chicago, and apologies if you've already heard this little quick story, but I was in Chicago and I was sitting on the train, and this woman gets on the train, beautiful, knockout gorgeous woman, right? And she ended up sitting next to me, and then this other dude gets on the train and he's sitting across from us, and he tries to holler. You know, he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing, right? Now, this dude, to be fair, was very good looking. He was very good looking. When I looked up at him, I was like, oh, you two would make sense. Very good looking dude, put together, everything. And he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing? What you doing? Where you going? How's your night? You know? And then she looks up from her phone and she goes, oh, nah. And I hated that I was sitting next to her because I had to turn all the way around. But she goes, oh, nah. And he just sits there. Sits there for like, maybe 40 seconds. And then train doors open. And he looks at her and he's like, you can't hurt me. And then he got off the train. And that's what a lot of Drake beefs with women feel like to me. Because the layers of Serena Dance is not just like this FU to Drake. Is one, also, we're playing the game, right? We're all part of the game. And it's a black woman having a good time. It was also pretty revolutionary. You know? And if you follow Serena, and if you follow tennis, you'll know that when she did the same dance at Wimbledon, they came for her hard. They said it was too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. And now she's doing it in front of the world. In front of the world with nothing but joy and people cheering her on, right? Giving us full circle moments. I thought that was so dope. You know? I even tried to do it. I hurt myself. Nah, I popped right up. I was like, oh, Serena! And I think that one of the most revolutionary things you can do is just have joy. Just have a good time. I watch so many people just having fun. I watch people watch it and have fun. That warmed my heart just to see so many people having a good time. I know it wasn't for everybody. I know there were some people that thought it was boring, they didn't like it or whatever. And he said ahead of time, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So it may not be for you, and that's okay. But I watched so many people have such a good time. It was dope, you know? And it's more than fitting. It's a blessing. It's an honor to talk with you about this, about black music, about black joy at the Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina, a place that in the 60s and 70s had incredible black acts, you know, was sometimes one of the few places that they could get booked, where black-owned radio stations had DJs do party nights. Like, it was great to be here, and I appreciate you having me, you know? I think that for the most part, when I think about the halftime show and when I rewatch it for the 100th time, and there were so many people that were critical of Kendrick. It should have been more. He should have done more. He should have gone up there, been more militant. He should have done this. And it's like, look, can I just tell you, I'm not trying to be a bummer when I say this, but everything you've ever watched that ever went out on a broadcast that you thought was revolutionary or you thought was ultra militant was approved for you to see by a corporate lawyer. Like all of it was, you know? In fact, whenever a moment gets through that's not that thing, that person usually faces swift consequences. There are so many people that are like, no, he didn't go far enough. He could have done so much more. And it's like, look, I understand. That's what people are saying. But if you really believe that, if you really believe that he should have done so much more, I can tell you this, art can save your life. Art can absolutely save your life. I believe it from the bottom of my heart. But believe me when I tell you that entertainment will never be your salvation. All right? Art can save your life, but entertainment by and large is escapism. And no one has ever escaped their chains by forgetting they were there. So you cannot, when I tell you, you will not be saved through entertainment alone. Expecting Kendrick to rap so good that Trump is like, I'ma stop. Like, be serious. If you really believe that, if you really believe he didn't go far enough, he didn't do enough, there was so much more he could have done, forget the symbolism, forget the double entendres. He should have spoke plainly. He should have put it all out there. I have great news for you. There are these things called books, right? There's these things called books, and every revolutionary that the government was scared enough to murder, almost all of them wrote one before they died. And they're so confident that you won't read it, they have it for free at the library. I'm just genuinely, I don't know what to say sometimes when people are like, why didn't he do this? It's like, I don't know, man. I'm not in his head. You know, he's great. You can't expect him to save you. He did an entire album where he said he wasn't our savior. The whole album where he was like, yeah, but I rap. I think it was incredible. I think it was a phenomenal show, especially in a year and a time where there are people that would have Black history disappear. You know, there are people that would have us forget. And I think the only way to stop Black history from going away is to make more of it all the time. Make new history all the time, new moments, you know? Because so many people were like, man, it was so boring, I didn't get it. And it's like, it's the most watched thing right under the moon landing, but I'm sure that was hate watching. You're right. I think that whatever you take away from the performance, if it's art that touched you, that made you feel something, that's good. That's all you can hope for. But if you want like a revolution, if you want change, you're probably gonna have to go outside and get some or make some. That, like, if you want, like, because then, you know, he plays Not Like Us and then we all scream Mustard. DJ Mustard comes out, they're dancing. And one thing I really loved about the performance, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, is that almost always what people will do, the Super Bowl thing to do is go out there and play your hits. Make a medley that reminds us why we love you, right? And this dude, he did some of his hits, but he mostly did this GNX album. He even says it when they start playing TV Off. This is GNX. We came here from Compton, California to party with y'all. Master. You know? Then the Super Bowl halftime show ends after he hits that TV Off, game over, cold stuff. And then they come back. Tom Brady's like, well, let's see if Patrick Mahomes can like really bring it home. Like, he's so good. I've heard he's great. I've heard he's fantastic. So I'm sure he can come back from this 2,000-point deficit. No, for real though. If you want change, art can save you. Entertainment will never be your salvation. And so if you really want to see a different neighborhood, a different country, a different world, you probably have to turn TV off.